So here is Boomer Esiason and what he had to say about this.
You know what? If I were Caitlin Clark, I would seriously consider going to play overseas somewhere and get the royal treatment and get real money
From the Saudis?
from somewhere. I mean, there's
She
international.
can't go to the Saudis.
Well, she can't go to the Russians either, as we saw that Brittany Griner got stuck there.
She did. Well, yeah, in jail.
Right. So
Can't take that money from PIF.
But a lot of the women actually do play, in European leagues because they supplement their income. But now supposedly their income is going up here, and I know that Caitlin makes a ton of money off the court in terms of endorsements, and rightfully so. But I think that there's a petty jealousy, and she's a straight white basketball player, and she is not being treated with any sort of respect whatsoever.
So that poster.
What if I were
So there you heard it from Boomer Esiason. He gave you his opinion, and it's just interesting how former pro athletes who understand about money, male media who cover male sports primarily understand about money and finance. But when it comes to the WNBA, the media that covers the WNBA doesn't understand finance, doesn't understand about money, doesn't understand the most basics of what these sports are is to make money, their businesses. And when you have a golden goose in your business, you take care of your golden goose. No one's sitting here saying you have to cheat for her to win. I did not say that. I will never say that. I will never even think about that. But you have to have some level of reality when it comes to physically battering her on a basketball court. LaShawn McCoy said it. Boomer Esiason said, now I think Boomer Esiason with her going overseas and stuff like that, I just don't think that will ever happen. I don't think it would ever happen. I don't think she'd even ever consider it, to be quite frank. But what I can tell you, and it's for a number of reasons, because I think it would also damage her brand. I do think it would. I think people that have fallen in love with Caitlin Clark would gradually forget about her. So there is a financial consequence for her because all of her endorsements are predicated on being on television in the United States of America, not overseas. We live here. If the games are in Europe, are Americans going to be watching Caitlin Clark games at 8 o'clock in Europe when it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon here? Or 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock or whatever time it is? Are they watching them while they're sitting at work? Can they do that? Will they do that? Realistically, the answer is no. You're not going to go turn on Caitlin Clark games to go watch her play Harlem Globetrotters versus Washington Generals. Like, you're not gonna. You're not gonna. That's why when people bring up the idea of her starting a new league, it's just so absurd because you're not going to watch a league of Caitlin Clark versus a bunch of bums. Like, that just defeats the entire purpose. And she's an ultra competitor, so she would not want to compete against that type of garbage. But the way the WNBA thinks and these people think, it's confusing. It's annoying because there are only when you look at players in male sports, there's only one Michael Jordan. There's only one Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, one LeBron James, one Steph Curry, one Kobe. Like, these are players. You've had many, many great players. You know who Asia Wilson is? And I'm not saying this from a perspective of skill set. I'm speaking from a perspective of people giving a shit. Asia Wilson is Tim Duncan. Tim Duncan might be one of the greatest men's basketball players of all time. He is. He's probably one of the top 15. He's the greatest power forward ever. And go ask a kid about Tim Duncan right now. They have no idea who the hell he is. They don't know who he is. He's insignificant to them. Tim Duncan was boring. Asia Wilson, I watched them play against New York yesterday or 2 days ago. They were terrible. It was awful. And Asia Wilson was terrible in that game. Asia Wilson might be the WNBA's best player. I don't think so, but a lot of people would believe that. And no one gives a shit. Nobody cares. No one's flipping on a damn Asia Wilson basketball game because nobody gives a damn. I'm curious to know what the ratings were for that game 2 days ago, 10 o'clock at night. I guarantee that wasn't very high. They still play in a 10,000 seat casino banquet arena. despite having a 20,000 seat arena a block away, 2 blocks, 3 blocks away from the Mandalay Bay at the T-Mobile Center. Caitlin Clark, there's a word for it. It's called transcend. And there are certain athletes who transcend a sport. Michael Jordan was one. He is the all-time transcendent player in the NBA. He forever changed basketball, not just the NBA, basketball. The WNBA owes Michael Jordan thanks for their league existing, because Michael Jordan is why that league exists. Along with Larry and Magic, but Michael Jordan more than anybody is the reason the WNBA even exists. Because Michael Jordan took the NBA to different heights. Michael Jordan was bigger than the NBA, transcending the NBA. You want to know what the definition of transcend is? You go to the Webster's Dictionary. To rise above or go beyond the limits of, to triumph over the negative or restrictive aspects of, overcome, to be prior to, beyond, and above the universe or material existence, to outstrip or outdo in some attribute, quality, or power, to rise above or extend notably beyond ordinary limits. That is Caitlin Clark for women's basketball. That was Michael Jordan. That was Larry and Magic. That's Steph to a degree. Steph Curry, for those of you who know what I was talking about. Like, that is Caitlin Clark. That is not Asia Wilson. That is not Paige Beckers. That is not Angel Reese. That is not any of these other women's basketball players, because nobody gives a shit. Again, I don't think Caitlin can go take her skills across the pond, because I think it would cost her a lot of money in endorsements as well. There's a reason Asia Wilson doesn't play overseas. It's not worth it. It's not worth it to Caitlin Clark. Now, if Caitlin Clark just decided, I'm going to retire, that's just as damaging to the WNBA. It's less damaging to her, because she'll still be in this country more than half the year. But this league is pathetic, folks. You get to listen to 2 former professional athletes. You got Boomer Esiason, who says what he had to say. You got LaShawn McCoy, who said what he had to say. You got Colin Cowherd, said what he had to say. Is everyone else wrong? Are all the men who do this for a living, are we all wrong? And the women, the LGBTQ women, are right? No, because your sport for 30 years has been horrible. It's been horrible. You can't beat 15-year-old boys in soccer. You wouldn't beat high school boys in basketball. You just wouldn't. It would never happen. It would never, ever happen. But if Caitlin doesn't play Saturday, I ain't watching. I don't care anymore. I'll make my videos. But if she's not playing, I got nothing to fucking watch. And I don't think you should watch either. I don't think anyone should do a live stream begging for clicks, begging for views, to just spend the next 2.5 hours talking shit. For that, we might as well all do a joint live together, separate of the game. You don't need the game. Why the hell are you even watching the game? You don't give a fuck about Indiana, largely. I know I don't, and I've admitted it. I don't, and I never will. I care about Caitlin Clark. Y'all let me know y'all thoughts in the comments. Hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Ring the bell. This is Indiana Fever Unfiltered, powered by Come On Now, the podcast. Come on now.